I told myself the drive would feel different this time. I told myself that when I buckled Lily into her car seat and she asked if Grandma had her favorite cookies ready. I told myself a third time when we pulled into my mother's driveway, and I saw the blue and silver balloons still tied to the mailbox from last weekend, left over from my nephew Tyler's party, slowly deflating in the April wind but still somehow cheerful, still somehow loud. Lily pressed her nose against the car window and asked me who the balloons were for. For Tyler, I said. From his party last week. She nodded, satisfied, and climbed out of the car with the careful seriousness of a 6-year-old who has recently learned how to unbuckle herself and considers this a matter of great personal pride. She didn't ask why the balloons were still there. She didn't ask why there had been no balloons for her. Not yet. Not ever. Not in all 6 years of her life in this family. But I noticed. I always noticed. Inside, the house smelled like pot roast and the lavender candles my mother keeps in the entryway. The ones she only lights when she wants company to feel welcome. My sister was already there, settled on the couch with her feet tucked underneath her, holding a glass of sweet tea like she lived there. Her husband was at the kitchen table talking football with my father. Their sons, Tyler and his younger brother Caden, were running circuits through the living room at a volume that made the walls hum. My mother was at the stove, stirring something, her good apron on, hair done the way she only bothers with for Sunday dinners when she wants to feel like a grandmother in a magazine. Lily ran to her immediately. She always did. That was the part that made everything harder. "Grandma," Lily said, tugging at my mother's apron string. "Do you know what day it is on Thursday?" My mother turned, looked down at Lily with the warm, distracted smile she uses when the children are interrupting something she'd rather be doing. "Thursday?" She said it as if she were buying herself time. "Is that a school day?" "No," Lily said. "It's my birthday." My mother patted her head. "Oh, of course it is, sweetheart. Now go wash your hands." She turned back to the stove. Lily turned and looked at me across the kitchen with an expression I was not prepared for. Not disappointed, not hurt, just searching, like she was trying to figure out if she had said something wrong. I mouthed, "I know, baby. Go wash your hands." She went. Dinner was loud the way my family's dinners always were. Overlapping conversations, and my father's laugh rattling the dishes, and my sister talking about Tyler's party last Saturday with the kind of detail that required her to pull out her phone and show everyone the photos. 3 separate times. 240 guests. A bounce house and a catering truck and a custom cake shaped like a baseball diamond. My mother had organized the whole thing. My mother had paid for most of it. "I don't know what the final number was," my sister was saying, "but the cake alone was $300. Mom, tell them about the cake." My mother laughed, genuinely delighted, spooning more potatoes onto Tyler's plate. "I told the baker it had to have all the team colors," she said, "and real, edible glitter on the bases." Tyler beamed. "It was the best cake I've ever had," he announced. Everyone agreed it was the best cake anyone had ever had. Lily was eating her roll in small, careful bites across the table from me. She didn't say anything. She had stopped watching the photos on my sister's phone after the first pass. She was looking at the salt shaker like it had said something to her. At some point, my mother asked if anyone wanted more iced tea, looked around the table, made eye contact with every adult, pointed finger guns at my nephews. She did not look at Lily. I watched my daughter's birthday approach the room and leave without being mentioned, like a guest who knocked on the door, waited, and walked away. On the drive home, Lily was quiet in the back seat for a long time. The highway stretched ahead of us, golden hour light flattening everything into something almost beautiful, and she pressed her forehead against the glass and watched the trees. "Mom," she said finally. "Yeah? Is my birthday still on Thursday?" "Yes," I said. "It absolutely is." She nodded. "Okay." She didn't ask if anyone else knew. She was 6, not stupid. She had already understood something I had spent 31 years trying not to understand myself. We got home a little after 7. I helped Lily with her bath, read her 2 chapters of the book she'd chosen, waited until her breathing slowed and her hand loosened around the stuffed rabbit she'd had since she was 2. Then I went to my desk. I had spent years telling myself my mother simply wasn't a details person. that she forgot things, that the way she lit up around my sister's boys was just her natural preference for rowdy energy, had nothing to do with anything else. I had built explanations the way you build a dam, one careful brick at a time, and every year the water found a new crack. Thursday was Lily's birthday. My mother had been told 6 months ago. I had texted a reminder 2 weeks ago. I had said it out loud at the dinner table tonight through my daughter's own mouth, and watched my mother pat her head and turn back to the stove. I opened my laptop. My financial accounts were still organized the way I'd set them up 3 years ago when my ex-husband and I separated, back when I was too tired and too sad to think clearly about anything. My mother was listed as secondary beneficiary on my life insurance. My sister was listed as the person who would make decisions about Lily's care if something happened to me. I sat with that for a moment. Then I opened the account portal and I began to type. I did not do it out of anger, exactly. I had been angry for years and it had accomplished nothing. What I felt right then was more like clarity. Like walking into a room you've been avoiding and finding that the thing you feared was already gone, had never been there at all, had only been the shape of your own reluctance casting shadows on the wall. I removed my mother and my sister from every account that had their names on it. I updated the beneficiary designation on my life insurance to Lily, 100%. I updated the emergency care directive to name my coworker, a woman who had sat with me in the hospital parking lot after Lily's ear surgery 2 years ago and held my keys so I'd stop twisting them through my fingers. Then I opened the portal for Lily's school and updated her emergency contacts. My mother had been listed as the second person they could call in case they couldn't reach me. I removed her name and added my neighbor Margaret, who has a key to my house and who once drove Lily to urgent care for a splinter that turned out to be nothing and never made me feel bad about it. I sent a summary email to my attorney with the subject line, "Updates needed. Please schedule a call." It was 10:43 on a Sunday night. I turned off the desk lamp and sat in the dark for a little while. My phone lit up from where I'd left it on the counter. I didn't look. At 7:15 Monday morning, my father called. Not Lily's birthday. Not the party. He started with a throat clearing, and then he said, "Your mother mentioned you seemed upset last night." And then before I could say anything he said, "Also, quick thing, my truck needs the rear axle replaced, and the shop quoted me $600. You think you could spot me?" He had asked me for money 11 times in 3 years. I had said yes every time. "No?" I said. Silence. "I'm a little short this month," he said, like that was news. "I know," I said. "I can't help right now." He made a sound, short and surprised, like I had flicked him on the ear. Then he said, "Your mother said you were acting sensitive last night," and I said, "I have to drop Lily at school. I'll talk to you later." I hung up and stood at the kitchen sink finishing my coffee while Lily ate cereal and made up a song about her rabbit named Clover. She was happy that morning. She was almost always happy in the morning, before the day had a chance to do anything to her. I watched her swing her feet under the chair and think of the birthday she was still looking forward to, the one she had not yet decided to stop believing in, and something in my chest went hard, and then soft again in the space of a breath. By noon, I had 22 missed calls. By the time I picked Lily up from school, I had 39. My sister had texted, "Mom is really hurt, call her." My mother had texted, "I don't know what I did, but whatever it is, we should talk." My father had texted nothing, which meant he was waiting for my mother to handle it, which was how things had always worked in that house. I did not call anyone back. We stopped for ice cream on the way home. Lily chose strawberry with rainbow sprinkles and ate it with complete focus, both hands on the cone, face tipped sideways to catch the drip. She told me about a girl in her class who had brought a real frog in her lunchbox and the resulting chaos. She told me that her teacher said April was National Poetry Month and that she was going to write a poem about Clover. She asked me if rabbits could read. I told her I thought they were more into listening. She considered this very seriously and said that made sense because Clover always sat very still when she talked to her. That night, after she was asleep, I heard a knock at the door. 3 quick raps, a pause, 2 more. I knew before I checked. My mother was standing on the front step in her good coat, the beige one she wears when she wants to look like she made an effort, holding a pink gift bag with tissue paper spilling out the top. Her hair was done. Her lipstick was fresh. She looked like she had prepared for a performance. I opened the door but not the screen. "I just want to explain," she said. "Okay," I said. She shifted the gift bag from one hand to the other. "I know Lily's birthday is Thursday," she said. "I have it on my calendar. I was going to call tomorrow to make plans." "It wasn't on your calendar 3 months ago," I said, "when you were organizing Tyler's party." "That's different," she said. "Tyler is older, his party required. Lily will be 7 on Thursday," I said. "I know that. You didn't know it at dinner last night." She looked at me the way she always looked at me when I said something she couldn't argue with and didn't want to admit, a kind of flattening around the eyes, a small retreat into dignity. "I'm her grandmother," she said. "I know," I said. "I love her." "I know that too. Then why are you acting like—" "Because she asked you what day Thursday was and you told her to wash her hands," I said. And I watched her face. My mother opened her mouth and then closed it. She looked at the gift bag. She held it out toward the screen door. "I bought her something." I looked at the bag. The tissue paper was bright pink. It did not tell me anything about what was inside, only that someone had chosen pink quickly and with the feeling that pink would communicate something. "I appreciate that," I said, "but I'm going to let Lily decide if she wants to open it." My mother pulled the bag back. She looked at me for a long moment, and something moved across her face that I had not seen before, a kind of surprised helplessness, like she had driven somewhere familiar and found the road gone. "I don't understand what you want from me," she said. "I want Lily to know she exists in this family," I said. I shut the door. In the morning, the gift bag was still on the step. I brought it inside and set it on the counter. When Lily came down for breakfast, she spotted it immediately and said, "What's that?" "Something from Grandma." She looked at it for a moment. She did not move toward it or away from it. She pulled herself up onto the kitchen stool and poured cereal into her bowl and said, "Is it for my birthday?" "I think so." She nodded and ate her cereal. After a minute she said, "Can I open it later?" "Whenever you want," I said. She opened it after school. Inside was a purple stuffed unicorn that still had the price sticker on one leg, a set of bath crayons in a plastic bag, and a card with a generic illustration of balloons that said, "Happy birthday, sweet girl." My mother had signed it. She had not written anything else. Lily held the card for a moment, then set it on the counter. "Can I give the unicorn to the toy drive at school?" she asked. "They're collecting stuff for families in the shelter." "Of course," I said. She put the unicorn back in the bag carefully, smoothing the tissue paper back over it with the hands of someone handling something fragile and a little sad. "I hope a girl there likes purple," she said. On Thursday, she turned 7. I took the day off. We made blueberry pancakes shaped like stars because she had asked for that in January, and I had written it down in my planner and kept it there. We drove to the science museum she had been asking about for 2 months, and she stood in front of the butterfly exhibit for 40 minutes, narrating what she saw to me in a quiet, wondering voice, and at one point, a blue morpho landed on her shoulder, and she didn't move, didn't breathe. Just turned her head toward me with the most extraordinary expression of quiet disbelief on her face. We had lunch at her favorite restaurant. She ordered macaroni and cheese and a lemonade and finished both. She told me it was the best birthday she had ever had. And I believed her. Not because it was extravagant, but because she was entirely present in it. Nobody pulling her attention elsewhere. Nobody making her wait to be seen. That night she crawled into my lap while I was reading on the couch and fell asleep there, her cheek against my collarbone, Clover tucked under her arm. I sat still for a long time after her breathing slowed, not wanting to move her. The house was quiet. My phone had 31 notifications I hadn't opened. I didn't open them then either. The calls kept coming the following week. My mother, my sister, my father when he felt like being recruited into it. My aunt left a voicemail that said something about families needing to work through things. I saved it without listening to the end. A week after the birthday, a letter arrived. My mother's handwriting on a cream envelope, the kind she uses for Christmas cards. She wrote that she felt blindsided, that she had always loved Lily, that whatever she had done, she had not done it on purpose, that I was building walls and the walls would hurt Lily more than whatever I thought she had done. The last line said, "You're teaching her to shut out the people who love her, and I think you know that's wrong." I put it in the folder I had started in my filing cabinet. Behind the tab I'd labeled Family Correspondence. I took a photo of it first and saved it to the cloud. My sister called on a Wednesday and did not say hello. She said, "You need to stop this, Nora. Mom cried for an hour last night. My name is not Nora." But I let that go. "What I'm stopping," I said, "is Lily watching Tyler's birthday get celebrated for 2 weeks straight, while her own birthday gets a pat on the head. What I'm stopping is being the person this family calls when they need something and forgets the rest of the time. That's not fair," she said. "We all love Lily." "When was the last time you came to one of her dance recitals?" I asked. Silence. "She had them in October and February," I said. "You live 12 minutes away." She hung up. 2 more letters arrived. Each one shifted the tone. The first was softer, more searching. Confused in a way that felt genuine and hurt to read because I recognized my mother in it. The version of her that didn't understand the damage she had done. The second was harder. She wrote that she was consulting someone about her rights as a grandmother. She wrote that cutting off a grandparent was harmful to a child's development. She underlined the last sentence twice. I photographed both letters, added them to the folder. I called my attorney on a Thursday afternoon while Lily was in dance class. She listened to everything, asked a few precise questions, then said, "You've documented consistently since when?" "Since the birthday dinner," I said. "That's good," she said. "If they push forward, we want pattern evidence, not just one incident. Do you have anything from before?" I thought of the school year photo my mother had framed on her hallway wall, the one with Tyler and Caden grinning in matching outfits. No photo of Lily. I had walked past it a dozen times and built explanations. I thought of the family group chat where my mother posted Tyler's baseball scores every weekend and I scrolled through them looking for Lily's name and never found it. "I have some things," I said. "Good," she said. "Bring them." I went through the group chat that night, screenshot by screenshot, after Lily was in bed. It took 40 minutes. I found 17 posts about Tyler's games and achievements over 11 months. I found 3 photos of Caden's school projects. I found nothing with Lily's name in it that my mother had posted. Not a photo, not a mention, not a birthday message, not a reply to the recital video I had shared in February that had gotten 2 heart emojis from distant relatives and silence from my mother. I organized everything by date, uploaded it to the shared folder my attorney had set up, and then sat at my kitchen table with a glass of water, and the particular kind of tired that comes not from doing hard things, but from finally seeing clearly the size of what you've been carrying. It was my neighbor Margaret who noticed first, the way people outside situations always do. She flagged me down one afternoon when I was bringing in the mail, leaned on the fence in her yellow cardigan, and said without preamble, "Your mom was here this morning." "I know," I said. She looked at the house and back at me. "I've lived here 6 years," she said. "I've seen you and Lily come and go 1,000 times. I've seen your family come and go too." She paused. "That little girl is the most patient, self-contained child I have ever met for her age." She hesitated. "The most patient children have usually had to practice it a lot." She squeezed my hand over the fence and went back inside. Lily was working on a school assignment at the kitchen table when I came in, a worksheet asking kids to draw and label their family. I set the mail down quietly and moved to the refrigerator so as not to disturb her. A few minutes later, she brought the paper to me. I looked at it. She had drawn herself, small, in the center. She had drawn me next to her, holding her hand. She had drawn our neighbor Margaret to the left, labeled neighbor. She was still working on spelling. She had drawn her teacher. She had drawn a small figure with floppy ears labeled Clover. There was no grandmother in the picture. No aunt. No cousins. I kept my face very still. "Did you draw everyone you wanted?" I asked. She considered the paper with the seriousness of an artist critiquing her own work. "I think so," she said. That night I sat at the edge of her bed after she was asleep and I looked at the paper I had set on her dresser. The small figures in pencil, the careful printing, family, according to Lily, was who had shown up. I had been too focused on what my family was failing to give her to notice what she had quietly been building on her own. 3 weeks later, a letter arrived from a law office. My mother was filing a petition for grandparent visitation rights. The letterhead was clean and formal, and it made the hair on my arms stand up when I read it. Lily was in the backyard collecting dandelions when the mail came. Through the kitchen window I could watch her moving slowly through the grass, completely absorbed, holding each stem up to the light before adding it to her fist. She had no idea this letter existed. She had no idea anyone had just filed legal paperwork claiming a right to her. I called my attorney and she said, "Bring everything in tomorrow. We're going to respond." In her office the next afternoon, she spread the documents across the desk and went through them with a red pen, marking as she read. When she got to the section claiming I had unreasonably isolated Lily from a close and loving family relationship, she stopped and looked up at me over her glasses. "Do you have the school family drawing?" she asked. "Yes," I said. "The group chat screenshots?" "Yes." "The letters?" "All of them," she nodded. "And anything from the birthday dinner itself? Witnesses, texts, anything?" I had texted my sister that night from the car. One message: "You all forgot Lily's birthday was in 4 days." My sister had responded, "She's 6. She won't even remember." I showed my attorney the screenshot. She made a sound that was not quite a laugh. The hearing was scheduled for late summer. I spent the months between it making sure Lily's life was good and full and had nothing to do with any of this. She finished the school year with a poem about Clover that her teacher submitted to the district Young Writers program, and it placed 3rd. She started a summer art class on Thursday mornings and came home each week with her hands stained different colors, thrilled by her own mess. She learned to pump herself on the swings. She asked me once, sitting at the kitchen table eating watermelon, whether Grandma was mad at us. I said, "Some adults have a hard time understanding when they've hurt someone's feelings." She chewed her watermelon. She said, "Tyler told Caden that you made Grandma sad. What did you say to that?" She picked out a seed and placed it on the edge of the bowl with great precision. "I said that Grandma made you sad first." I looked at her for a long moment. "You're right," I said. She shrugged, unconcerned, and went back to her watermelon. But then she said, "Mom, is Grandma still my grandma even if she doesn't really know me?" "I thought about that," I said. "Being a grandmother is something she is. Whether she acts like one is a different question." She absorbed this. She said, "Like how Miss Patterson is still my teacher even during summer." "Exactly like that," I said. She seemed satisfied with this and moved on to discussing whether the dog next door had a happy life. The morning of the hearing was gray and warm, the kind of August day that can't decide what it wants to do. I dressed Lily in her favorite green dress and put her hair in the 2 braids she liked. I dressed myself carefully, slowly, in a way that felt like a ritual. We dropped Lily with Margaret before I drove to the courthouse. Margaret hugged her like she weighed nothing and said, "We're going to make waffles with the fancy syrup and I need your expert opinion on the recipe." Lily followed her inside without looking back. That was the most reassuring thing I had seen in months. Inside the courthouse, my attorney was already seated, her binder open, highlighters arrayed in a row that communicated something about her character I deeply respected. She glanced up and said, "You look calm." "That's good." "I feel calm," I said, which surprised me. On the other side of the room, my mother sat in a dove-gray blouse she had probably bought for this occasion, and my sister beside her, and my sister's husband behind her like furniture. My mother looked at me when I sat down, and her expression was hard to read. Some mix of wounded and righteous that I had been watching my whole life, without ever being able to name it properly. The judge entered. She was a woman in her late 50s with reading glasses pushed up on her head and the manner of someone who had heard every variation of this story so many times that she required people to bring evidence. The opposing attorney went first. He used words like estrangement and harmful isolation and meaningful relationship. My mother was given a moment to speak. She said she loved her granddaughter and had always loved her. She said this had all started from a misunderstanding at a dinner. "A misunderstanding," the judge repeated. "A birthday," I said quietly. "My daughter's birthday." The judge looked at me. She said, "You'll have your turn." My attorney stood. She was unhurried. She said, "Your Honor, I'd like to begin with a question for the petitioner." She asked my mother when Lily's birthday was. My mother said July 14th. My attorney looked at her notes. Lily's birthday is April 18th, she said. Silence. And how old did Lily just turn? My mother hesitated. 7. I think 7. She is 7, my attorney confirmed. She turned 7 in April. My mother's attorney shifted in his seat. My attorney laid out the evidence without drama. The way you build a case when the truth is already doing all the work. The group chat. The school photos on my mother's wall. The letters. The family drawing Lily had made. The text message from my sister. The birthday dinner. The gift bag with the price sticker still on the leg of the stuffed animal, purchased the morning after the dinner. A detail that required no commentary. She played the date of Tyler's party against the date of Lily's birthday. 2 weeks apart, one celebrated with bounce houses, catering, a $300 cake, and a grandmother who organized every detail. One marked with a pat on the head and the instruction to wash her hands. This is not a case about isolation, my attorney said. This is a case about accountability. The judge read each document slowly. She asked to see the group chat screenshots herself. She read Lily's family drawing. She looked at it for a moment longer than she looked at anything else. Then she looked up. Petitioner has made a claim of close and meaningful relationship with the minor child, she said. The evidence before me does not support that characterization. She set the drawing down. It suggests the minor child herself does not experience it that way. My mother's attorney started to speak. The judge raised a hand. Furthermore, she said, the petition was filed within weeks of the respondent making certain legal and financial updates to her personal accounts, which the petitioner seems to believe she had standing to prevent. She looked over her glasses at my mother. She did not. She closed her folder. The petition is denied. The court finds insufficient grounds for mandatory visitation and no evidence of harmful isolation. She paused. What I do see evidence of is a pattern of differential treatment that the respondent had every right to respond to by adjusting the nature of her family relationships. Dismissed. My sister pushed back from her chair. My mother's attorney put a hand on his paperwork. My mother sat very still, her hands folded in her lap, and she looked at me across the room with an expression I had not seen before. Not wounded pride, not self-justification, something else. Something closer to the bottom of things. I picked up my bag and left. Margaret was in her backyard when I got home, pushing Lily on the tire swing, both of them laughing at something that had apparently been very funny. Lily spotted me over the fence and leaped off the swing mid-arc and ran to the gate with her hair coming loose from both braids and her green dress grass-stained at the knee. "Is it done?" she asked. "It's done," I said. She threw her arms around my waist. "Good," she said, her voice muffled against me. "Can we have the waffles now?" We had the waffles. September arrived cool and restoring. Lily started 2nd grade. She carried her new backpack with both straps, even though most of the kids wore one strap, because she had decided 2 straps were more efficient and she was not interested in fashion arguments. Her teacher called me 3 weeks in to say Lily had been selected for the advanced reading group and also, she added, that Lily had written a story for free write time that she wanted me to see. I came after school. The story was 3 pages in Lily's careful block printing, with illustrations in the margins. It was called The Girl Who Made Her Own Map. It was about a girl whose old map stopped working, so she drew a new one. The new map only had places that were real. A yellow house, a kitchen with star-shaped pancakes, a museum with butterflies, a neighbor's backyard with a tire swing. "There is no place on this map where people forget you," Lily had written at the end, "because I only put in the places where I am real." Her teacher had circled those 2 sentences and written beautiful next to them. I folded the story and put it in my jacket pocket and walked out to the parking lot and sat in my car for a few minutes before I could drive. A letter from my mother arrived in October. I recognized the handwriting and felt the familiar brace before opening it, but it was short. 3 paragraphs. She said she had been thinking. She said she did not know how to fix what she had done, that she understood if I did not want her to try. She said she saw Lily at my aunt's house last month, and Lily had been polite and then gone back to her book. She said Lily looked healthy. She said she was glad she looked healthy. She signed it with her first name. Not Mom, just her first name. I held it for a while. Then I put it in the folder. Not as evidence, not as anything, just as part of the record of what had happened and what had been said and what had been too late. That night, Lily and I made soup from scratch, the kind that takes 3 hours and fills the whole apartment with something that smells like comfort has a recipe. She stood on her step stool and stirred with both hands, and narrated the bubbles with the same focused wonder she had brought to the butterfly exhibit in April. And I thought about the year that had happened, the quiet, brutal, ordinary year of it, and how she had moved through all of it without understanding the full shape of what was bending around her, and had come out on the other side knowing exactly who was real. Family is who shows up, she had written. And then she had drawn the map accordingly. Later, after dinner, she climbed onto the couch and pulled the big blanket over both of us and said, "Mom, can I tell you something?" "You can tell me anything," I said. She thought about it. "I'm glad it's just us," she said. Like this. The blanket was warm. Outside, the first real fall rain was starting, slow and even, tapping the window. I pulled her closer. "Me too," I said. "Me too." She fell asleep before the next commercial break, completely boneless the way only children sleep. And I stayed still beside her for a long time, listening to the rain, not checking my phone, not thinking about what came next, just present in the room with my daughter, in the quiet of a life I was still building, in the particular peace that comes not from winning anything, but from finally deciding what was worth protecting,